Have you ever wondered about the cost of doing business with Iran, especially considering the potential sanctions risk? Let's dive into the recent geopolitical developments that have sparked quite a stir. The President of Iran, Ebrahim Raisi, recently concluded a 3-day visit to Pakistan. This marked a significant milestone as it was the first visit by an Iranian president to the South Asian country in 8 years. This wasn't just a courtesy visit. It was a strategic move, a step towards fostering stronger ties between the two nations. Both countries expressed their commitment to enhancing security and economic cooperation. They even set an ambitious goal to increase their bilateral trade from the current $2 billion to $10 billion a year over the next 5 years. This might seem like a win-win situation at first glance. Pakistan, grappling with a looming food crisis caused by devastating floods, could potentially benefit from this partnership. On the other hand, Iran, isolated due to international sanctions, could find in Pakistan a strategic ally and a viable trade partner. Yet the geopolitical landscape is never as simple as it seems. Every strategic move, every alliance carries its own set of implications and potential complications. And this burgeoning Iran-Pakistan connection is no different. The United States, for instance, has already warned Pakistan of the risk of sanctions following its promise of greater cooperation with Iran. So, while the prospect of increased trade and stronger ties may seem appealing, the potential sanctions risk cannot be overlooked. As fruitful as this partnership may seem, it does not come without its own set of challenges. A key outcome of this visit was the decision to increase bilateral trade. This agreement, struck between Pakistan and Iran, is undoubtedly a significant one. It aims to boost their annual trade from the current $2 billion to an impressive $10 billion over the next 5 years. Now, why is this important? For both countries, this surge in trade could be a game changer. For Iran, isolated due to international sanctions, this agreement offers a much-needed economic lifeline. It's a chance to stimulate their economy, create jobs, and bolster their domestic industries. For Pakistan, this deal could help mitigate the economic challenges they're currently facing. Remember the recent massive flooding that severely impacted their food security. This agreement could mean access to Iranian agricultural products, potentially easing the looming food crisis. Moreover, this deal could also strengthen Pakistan's geopolitical position. By aligning itself with Iran, Pakistan could potentially gain a stronger negotiating position in the region. But it's not just about politics and economics. This agreement could also foster cultural exchanges, promote tourism, and create a stronger bond between the people of these two neighboring countries. However, while this deal may seem like a win-win situation, it's essential to remember that it comes with its own set of challenges. For starters, Pakistan will need to navigate a complex geopolitical landscape, balancing its relationships with other major powers while forging ahead with this trade deal. And then there's the elephant in the room, the United States. The US has already warned Pakistan of potential sanctions due to this new alliance with Iran. So, while this agreement could bring many benefits to both Iran and Pakistan, it's not without its risks. Navigating these risks will require careful diplomacy and strategic planning. But as they say, there's no such thing as a free lunch. In the wake of this agreement, the United States has issued a stern warning to Pakistan. The pact between Pakistan and Iran, aimed at boosting bilateral trade to $10 billion a year over the next 5 years, has not gone unnoticed by the international community. The United States, in particular, has voiced concerns over this newfound economic cooperation. Why the concern, you might wonder? It all boils down to Iran's nuclear program. The United States, along with several other nations, has imposed strict economic sanctions on Iran in an effort to curb its nuclear ambitions. Any country that engages in significant trade with Iran risks falling afoul of these sanctions. This is the predicament Pakistan now finds itself in. The US warning is not to be taken lightly. The United States has a long history of imposing sanctions against countries it believes are enabling Iran's nuclear program. These sanctions can be crippling, blocking access to the US financial system and limiting the ability to trade with other nations. For Pakistan, a country already grappling with economic woes and the looming threat of a food crisis, the potential impact of these sanctions could be profound. The country's economy, already burdened by the aftermath of massive flooding, would face further strain. The increased trade with Iran might offer a short-term boost, but the long-term consequences could be far more severe. The situation becomes even more complex when we consider Pakistan's relationship with Afghanistan and the recent US proposal for an interim power-sharing government with the Taliban. Any political or economic instability in Pakistan could have ripple effects across the region. So, we find ourselves asking a critical question. So, is the risk worth the reward? Now that we've examined both sides of the coin, it's time to weigh the costs and benefits. Let's begin by analyzing the potential economic benefits for Pakistan. The promise of increasing bilateral trade from $2 billion to $10 billion annually over the next 5 years is a substantial one, especially for a country grappling with economic challenges. This could stimulate job growth, improve standard of living, and even potentially alleviate Pakistan's food security concerns, as seen from the recent massive flooding that has threatened its agricultural sector. However, this promise of economic prosperity comes with a substantial risk: sanctions from the United States. The US has a history of wielding economic sanctions as a tool to enforce its foreign policy objectives. For Pakistan, falling under these sanctions could mean a significant blow to its economy. It could deter foreign investment, disrupt international trade, and lead to a potential financial crisis. So, what are the possible outcomes and scenarios? If Pakistan proceeds with the proposed economic cooperation with Iran, it could indeed face US sanctions. This, in turn, could strain Pakistan's relations with other nations aligned with the US, possibly leading to a broader geopolitical fallout. On the other hand, if Pakistan heeds the US warning and pulls back from the deal, it will lose out on the potential economic benefits that the increased trade with Iran could bring. This could leave Pakistan in a precarious position, especially considering its current economic challenges and the looming food crisis. Between these two paths, the question arises: which cost is greater? Is the potential economic boost worth the risk of US sanctions and geopolitical isolation? Or would the loss of the proposed economic benefits be a more significant blow to the country's well-being? The decision, as they say, is a delicate balancing act. As we wrap up our discussion, it's clear that the road ahead is fraught with uncertainty. We've delved into the intricacies of the Iran-Pakistan connection, dissected the economic implications, and scrutinized the potential sanctions risk. The spotlight now falls on the strategic implications for Pakistan, caught in a delicate balancing act between its relationship with Iran and the United States. The proposed increase in bilateral trade from the current $2 billion to $10 billion a year over the next 5 years presents a tantalizing opportunity for Pakistan. This economic cooperation with Iran could provide a much-needed boost to Pakistan's economy, especially in light of recent challenges such as flooding and food security threats. However, this decision doesn't come without its share of risks. The United States' warning of potential sanctions looms large over Pakistan's economic prospects. The consequences of such sanctions could be far-reaching, potentially impacting not just the economy, but also the political and social fabric of the country. Moreover, this agreement could reshape the geopolitical landscape in the region. As the United States and Iran continue their tug-of-war, Pakistan's decision could tilt the balance of power. It's a high-stakes gamble, but one that could pay off if navigated strategically. In the end, it all boils down to Pakistan's ability to balance its economic interests with its geopolitical obligations. It's a tightrope walk, one that requires adept diplomacy and strategic foresight. As the saying goes, may you live in interesting times. Indeed, for Pakistan, these are interesting times.